This is the Bar Stewards Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
Hello, and a very warm welcome, especially in this weather, as it's absolutely pissing down and it's costing us meetings. Welcome to the Saturday show. We've already lost Sandown, sadly, to the weather. Wincanton looks set for the go-ahead as long as it stays dry, which it is said to do. So hopefully we get Wincanton and ITV tomorrow. They've rescheduled the cards to Newcastle and they've adjusted the times. Wincanton will jump 5 minutes later than published and Newcastle 10 minutes later than published to fit in nicely with the afternoon. So joining me to chew the fat and go through the best bets, I've got my best team here to do this. It's myself and John as usual, but joining us tonight is Chris Gartner and Andy Richmond. Good evening, chaps.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening, Lee. Evening, everyone.
Right now, we've got through the Walton stage. We shall now go on to the best bets round. This is where, if you've not listened before, we go 1, 2, and 3 points. Hopefully, we will make a profit. Andy is currently leading the table, and he's bid to become Naps King 2. And we're doing rather well. We're about 50% up on investment. So there's plenty of time for it to go wrong yet. So yeah, we're hoping for a good winter, even despite these abandonments. So without further ado, it's best bets time. So I'm going to come to Chris first of all for your 1 pointer, please, Chris.
So the 1 pointer, we go down to Wincanton. Hopefully it will be on. I seen Paul was helping with the flooding, getting the horses out. I'm sure he was yesterday. That half one and the handicap chase over the minimum trip, and I'm going to go with Jane Williams' fast book here. Sandown last time out, it just I think once you saw the ground going good to soft, I didn't think there was any temptation whatsoever to put him in the race. Kieran had him held out at the back, really. These are his conditions. He's 1-2-1 on heavy ground here. He amazingly is a former Skelton, Mullins and Nichols horse. But Larkin Williams jumps on his local track. He's 40 from 90 wins and places round here. He's actually rode the horse before when he went down ahead at Donny a few years back. And whilst Jane hasn't perhaps had the best of seasons in terms of Wincanton, she's normally worth a follow over here. And I just think he gets his conditions. Wolford's French horse interested me a bit, but probably is a bit more of a long-term project, really. So 1 pointer, we'll go with Jane Williams' fast book for me.
Good stuff, mate. 5-2, that's with Bet365, and Coral, that's due to Artemis Kimber getting withdrawn. That's now a non-runner in the race. That's right. That's why it was 4-1, but obviously with the withdrawal of Artemis Kimber, it shortened up the market. They've all shortened up. So 5-2 you've got. That's with Denise, Coral and Ladbrokes. Good start, Chris. 1 point win and a good case made. Andy Richmond?
I've had to go this Sunday because Saturday's fare is fairly moderate. Good card at Plumpton, actually. Put some decent cash up there. And answers on a postcard. How many regional nationals are there? I've not counted them up. I don't know, but there must be probably millions of them.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we get another verse.
Man, too many.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that, John. Soon be Doncaster. Don't worry.
Yeah,
we've got a North Wales national and a West Wales national, Andy.
Well, I get the feeling we're probably into double figures, aren't we?
These nationals, Andy, are like ladies' days, aren't they? Like tracks to a ladies' day to get people.
Exactly.
That's all you got to do, really. Ladies' day. Double the attendance. Anyway, Andy, sorry.
Probably better talking about ladies' days in this. Actually, it's not a bad race. Usually the sweet spot for the ages is between sort of 8 and 9. I've tossed up between 2 and gone with the bigger price. Gold Claremont, thought was given a very clever ride by the champion jockey-elect, Mr. Sean Bowen, last time out when she hammered Easy Party at Fakenham. I think they went round about 4 times there. I think they need a lap counter and a bell at the end of that. But she did really well. I think she's Andy Irvine, decent little trainer, usually near the, from down that way near the track, 10 stone 5 on what ground will probably be deep enough. And I just think she's been set up for this race. 10 stone 5. She'll be in the first six of the betting, which is where you normally want to be with these. There's a few others you could include in here, like Rose of Arcadia, Foxborough, and the one I'm really frightened of, which is Dom of Mary. Dom of Mary is an interesting one. I thought he was given a real sighter here about 3 or 4 months ago, and never put in the race. Then they ran him in a better race at Cheltenham where he was making up ground and he clumped a fence. I should be having a saver on Dom of Mary, but for the purposes of this, I'll have a point win on Gold Claremont around. I think there's a couple of firms up at 7-1 at the moment. William Hill and 888 Sport. If you can get any better, I would, but I think she'll stay well. I won't go each way, but if you can get the 4 places, I think she's sort of guaranteed to be in the front first 4. So Gold Claremont of 10 stone 5 for Andy Irving with a perfectly decent young claim running. Philip Armson is the 1 pointer.
Good stuff, mate. A 7-1 Gold Claremont for the Sussex National, of course, on Sunday. They're in the 250 race there. Right, 240 Wincanton, where I'm going for my 1 pointer, and it's George's Saint. The old Venetia angle, really, it's nothing, anyone can tip this. That's why it's staying at 1 point. It handles heavy conditions, loves heavy conditions, and that's going to be key tomorrow, obviously, with the stick below 4 at the moment. What I did feel was that the second favourite, Hulgot, I'm not certain that wants ground this deep. Although the form with Enjoy Your Life over this course and distance is very strong for Hulgot under Freddie Dingell, I think the ground is going to be key. And that's why I think Georgia Sant is the bet at 5-2 generally available. So nothing a lot to add. It's not original, I know, but that's why I've stuck it in the 1 point bin. John, on to you.
Still struggling to come to terms with the loss of the Veterans Chase at Sandown. There'd have been more gear on display than there would at a BDSM festival.
Have you ever been to one, John?
Loads.
Yeah.
It's what I do most of the winter, Andy.
Cracks me up, John.
Unsurprisingly, I've gone to Southall. 6:30. Absolute Dream did us a bit of a favour at Hamilton in early September. Back on a good mark again now. He's run well enough round here before to give cause for optimism as well. The yard is in fair enough form. I count 7 hold-up horses in this with a likely soft lead for the 1 box. So a handy 6 should be a gimme off this if we're off. I think Sitting Andy will just about seal the deal for him because there's a lot of horses in this that are either in stinking form or trained by or ridden by idiots. So by nature of default as much as anything, Absolute Dream 1 point win.
9-1 generally available, John. So you happy with that? Just going back to like Veterans Chase and things, don't you enjoy the Grand Military Gold Cup at Sandown?
I'd rather sit at home with a spoon and gouge my own eyes out.
I thought you loved Sandhurst types there that were in military with double barrel surnames and
Get dressed up and wear the uniform for that one, couldn't you?
Yeah, and they've got no legs and they make ITV News because they've got no legs and still ride a winner, John.
And the names don't fit into the card.
If I can't get close enough to get a swing at them, I'm not that bothered, to be honest.
Anyway, that's to come for you, John, this winter, the Grand Military Day. John's other favourite card of the year. Right, thanks for that, John. That finishes the 1 point round. I'll kick us off then with the 2 point round. And we're going to Newcastle I've said it like a southerner there, Newcastle, It's Newcastle up here. 250 is the race, and I'm very keen on the Mark Walford trained Empty Nest. This is a nice type physically. Shaped very well at Catterick last time. Didn't get a good ride, really. Wasn't suited by the track. It was too quick for it. Undulating, in the wrong position. Come home nice. In another 4 or 5 strides, would have gone past them. Now at Newcastle, under good testing conditions, off a very nice mark in a very weak race, I think it takes the world a beating. Yes, the price is not spectacular at 5-2 generally available, but it's a square price, and I'd be a little bit shorter. I'd probably be 7-4-5. So 5-2 makes a lot of sense to go 2 points win on Empty Nest.
Didn't he make a mistake early on as well, Lee?
He did. He
sort of put it on the back foot, didn't it, around there, and it's not where you want to be.
Yeah, they were all bunched up as well down there. There was no room. It was a very messy contest. And I just think there's a lot more to come from this lad because he's quite a big boy. I don't think he's fully mature yet in his head either, which will help with Newcastle because you've got a lot of time in that straight to get organised. So hopefully
that's in good form as well.
Yeah, and nothing not bad to say about Mark Wolf. Fantastic trainer. So 5-2 available there for Empty Nest. John, I'll swing it round back to you for your 2-pointer.
Right, I've got 5 o'clock at Southall. I have a slight concern about the stable form, but I think Island Native can make amends for last time when he was too keen. Hopefully, what I am worried about, they might change tactics and drop him out. I hope they don't, and he needs to be ridden pretty handy here. And if he is and he drops it, he'll deal with this lot, I've no doubt about that. He could be one to back in running, to be honest, because if he jumps off and he's sat second, third, or fourth, and he's not pulling his head off, well, I think you could probably take maybe even a couple of points under what he is at the minute, because I'd be very confident then. Cephallus could be one that has a bit more to offer, but I'm not sure whether draws in his favour, and I'd prefer the local knowledge of Rawlinson over Quayle any day of the week as well. Concert Boy is without a doubt the best handicapped horse in the race, but he needs a strongly run 7, really, ideally at Newcastle, so I don't know what they're messing about that area, because he'll be sat at the back and he'll threaten, but he probably won't get there. Island Native, anyway, 2 points win.
That's 9-2 available generally for Mick Applebait. And the Cock Watchers on second start for Mick at 9-2. Yeah, nothing. Not
it's a shame you have to tip one of theirs, isn't it?
But yeah, there you go. You know, we can't be perfect on this show, but that's where we have to go sometimes when the cards are decimated. Andy Richmond, coming to you for your 2-pointer.
I'm 2/3 of the way to my Friday nap, but John would have gone for 3 at Southall, so I'm hoping to get that up in a minute. Or on the all weather. Get the klaxon out.
Get in the queue now, Andy.
All right, okay. Can I start forming an orderly queue, John?
Yes.
You can, yeah.
Fantastic, lovely. That's that nap landed. Get the klaxon out. You've got to have a bit of Venetia, haven't you?
Yes.
George's Saint, don't really need to add much more, but it was a bit disappointing over hurdles after coming from France, even after he'd had a couple of wind-ups. But once they bunged him over fences, he was already a winning chaser in France. The 4th at Chepstow wasn't too bad. Then he's won back-to-back handicaps in the slop at Fosslas and Fakenham. I think he really, like you said, Lee, he relishes soft, heavy conditions, bottomless, snorkel and flippers conditions tomorrow. He's got up £7 for his last winner. When he win 12 lengths, could have been more.
Yep.
There's a few in here that you could give a chance to, like Giacomo's got the headgear back on. Hugo, I wasn't convinced about that win against Enjoy Your Life because I thought Enjoy Your Life got a shit ride, to be honest with you.
Yeah, went too hard.
Venetia Barn, still in cracking form, and 2 points win George's Saint to complete the hat trick in the slop.
Love it. We love a klaxon bet. Thanks, Andy. 2 points win George's Saint. So hopefully we can get that in the bank. We love a klaxon winner on the bar stewards as a foghorn. Chris, what is your 2-pointer?
All right, 2-pointer. I'm going to the Sky Sports Racing sponsored Sussex National.
Ooh.
And it's a horse that I think Andy was scared of. So I'm hoping
Donna Mary.
You're right, Andy, in one. Yeah. I've on X or whatever it's called now, I've been banging on about this lad since last season. Same colours as the Conditional. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
For Bridgewater, who won. Saddler maker over a trip. He's a lazy hold up. Get him out the back, keeps going horse. Give him a little sighter in November. Stayed on.
It wasn't off a yard that day, was he?
Oh fuck it! It was. We're coming here for January. You know, let's face it. Do you know what? It wasn't a bad race though. I mean, Gordon thought Blade Runner was decent enough to go into the old Welsh National. I mean, he might have actually run him here if he doesn't run the other one there. Midnight Mary's not a bad mare, and but I mean he wasn't on that day. He was jogged around, wasn't he? To be fair,
I'd say to anyone, go and take a look at the race if you've got time. Because it was...
Yeah, no one's. Well, look, and to be fair, no one's missed it, have they?
No.
You know, I've just checked the prices there, but they've left the pieces off. They give him a spin round Cheltenham last time out to probably protect his mark, and this is the aim of the game. You know, he handles heavy. As I said, I think this was the plan that the pieces go on. I'd like to maybe see him ridden a bit. I wouldn't want them holding on to him all that long, but 8-year-olds have got a cracking record in this. Go whatever, Seaston Spirit, Christmas and April. You don't want an unexposed an exposed one here. So he'd be a fairly confident 2-pointer there.
Good stuff, love it. Dom Mary at 4-1 for Chris, and that was also Andy's main danger, and Andy will be covering that. So let's hope between Chris and Andy we have the Sussex National winner on Sunday, and it'll be good for everyone, including myself, because I'll follow them both in. On the 250 there, that's the feature race there on the excellent Plumpton card on Sunday. Right, we're moving on now to the best round of the lot. This is you get your lucky 15s ready for this round. You know you love us best bets. Before I do so, please also support Bar Stewards by going along to Patreon. The link's on the Twitter timeline. You can either subscribe for £7 and get lots of fantastic articles from the likes of Chris Gartner, Andy Richmond, John Lang, all with notebooks, etc., for just £7, plus lots of other stuff. Adam Norman's paddock notes. There's lots of tremendous stuff on there. And if you're feeling flush, you can subscribe to the Bar Stewards Edge service, which is a little bit more pricey at £37, but it's doing 20% profit at 11 a.m. prices, which shows you how good we fucking are. On to the best bets round. Indeed, lovely plug there. So, I'm intrigued by Andy's max tomorrow. Andy, I'm coming to you first.
All right, to scrabble around for this one. It's probably a little bit obvious, but you can never be. I'm never completely convinced about this yard, the Candlish yard, but Yeeland in the last race, in the lucky last at Newcastle, has got all the hallmarks of one who's been prepared for a handicap after 3 starts over hurdles. I mean, the probably the cherry on the top of the cake last time out was the fact that they brought him back down in trip to qualify for a mark after having a look at what he could do over 2 miles 4, which was pretty decent. Stayed on well over a trip that was way too short a banger. The second from that race, actually, 2 Old Pals, runs earlier on this card. He's 5th on the previous start at Carlisle. Reads like a good piece of form now. The winner, Johnny Who, was 4th in the Challow subsequently, and I thought he ran a really nice race in that, actually, Johnny Who. And you can't help thinking that a mark of 96 might just be a little bit too lenient. 2 of his half-brothers, he's got 2 half-brothers, 2 decent ones, Shanro Santos and Young Bull. They were rated in the mid-130s at the height of their powers. The 2 main rivals, Tommy Johnston, I think he'll win a handicap, but I think he needs a bit further. Robert Dorez is back from a break. They won't make life easy for him, but I'd be surprised if he can't win off a mark of 96. Seeing what I've seen so far, probably everyone else has seen it as well, but on a thin old day, 3 points win on Yeeland.
Fantastic. 9-4 generally available. No prices certainly unavailable there in terms of generally available across the board. 9-4, not off so far. Yeeland, so that should be interesting. In the 325, coming to me then, this is going to be a gamble, I think, tomorrow. I'll be astonished if this doesn't collapse. Like an England batting lineup in the 80s against the West Indies. This is in the 205 at Wincanton, and it's a horse trained by Jamie Snowden called Starovich. Yes, this horse tried fences last time against Kestrel Valley. Good luck with that. And then the time before that was obviously not off at Newbury. The time before that at Catterick, right, it ran 5th to Supreme Gift, Howling Mad Murdoch, and Blue Fin. Right, Supreme Gift is rated 127. Howling Mad Murdoch is rated 144. Bluefin obviously not scaled those heights, but he's still 118. And yet this horse, if you stop the VT between the third last and second last, this lad's still up with them. and he's on the wrong part of the track, on the inside of the track when it stands rail at Catterick, as we all know, on soft ground, right? It's off a mark tomorrow off, what's this, 91, with a £10 lad on that can actually, is half competent. So is he effectively running off 81? I'm sorry, 12-1, folks. If that's 12-1 tomorrow, I'll be having, and obviously I can't get on, but if you can get on overnight, you're laughing. This will go off 4-1, 7-2. A 3-point win bet, massive value. Obviously, I can't take advantage, but this is with William Hill, Ladbrokes, and Coral. If you're fortunate enough with those accounts, Starovich for me, Chris Gartner.
All right then. Does the show have sound effects for this klaxon, or do we just say klaxon? Or
we did it
does
once.
it stretch? How's the budget looking like?
When Nev's on, we get an asthmatic horse. It's
Okay,
it's like an asthmatic horse klaxon. But yeah, with no sound effects. But I just love our klaxons. Right,
We've
come
got
on.
to get one.
Yeah. What's the klaxon?
Yealands in the 325. I tell you what, 9-4 at the moment. I'm looking. It's not going off at that. Owned by the Clarks, who have had a fair few for Jenny. Yeah, I mean, he's been put deliberately in decent enough novices races there at Carlisle and Bangor over. I mean, certainly the Bangor trip was just basically, we just need a mark for him and we'll stick him in a cap there. And he's already said who he's been bred by, up in trip, by Scirocco, heavy ground, testing ground, mares decent. It looks a fairly weak enough contest there. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't go off for a ridiculous price.
9-4 again, Yale, and the confidence between Chris and Andy there, I think spells volumes on what they think about that. And like you say, if you watch some of his qualifying runs, it's rather interesting, to say the least.
I mean, Sean would have him in the right places. Half the time with these, you're looking at Tommy Johnson, who I agree with Andy, little bit raw for Mark, and come on to him later because we run one at Newcastle tomorrow as well. So, and then, but you just look at who he's up against. I mean, Alexander's disappointed. Bewley's is off a break. Marks is off a break. Dobbins is off a break. Smith's out of 4. You're just looking at it and you're thinking, why is he the other side of evens?
No, cracking. Two klaxons, folks. That's what we like. You get value on this show. Jonas finishes up.
At lunchtime today, I thought I'd really dug one out here. I know it seems I haven't. But anyway.
Go on.
6 o'clock at Southall, we're sort of telling the tale of Tipperary Moan, who spent last season in the care of Dennis 4% Quinn. He's now trained in Ireland by Des 12% Donovan. This horse was rated 73 at his peak for Nelly Furtado.
Yeah.
He runs here off a very competitive looking 62. He's not run for a fair old while, but there's reason for optimism, such as why come over here with the attendant cost when a spin-up could have been achieved round Dundalk? Also, why book Rob Hornby for this assignment if she's stopping him?
The train driver.
He's a winner at the distance. There's not much pace on, so switched on jockey out here. And there's some right nongers riding in this as well. 3 points win. Sorry about the price.
Do you want to go 2-1 or do you want Betfair SP? Do you think you get bigger on the machine? What do you think?
might bounce back a bit. I'll go at Betfair SP.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think these gambles tend to like stupid prices with the books, and then like you said, there's a massive bounce out on the machine. Yep. Okay, Betfair SP for John Joe. He spotted an Irish gamble for you there in the 6 o'clock at the Rolleston venue. Onto the TV previews, and we have at least tomorrow got some TV racing. ITV have extended their schedule. We shall start with Newcastle's 4. The 140 race there is the Novice Hurdle, and that's 2 old pals. That's favourite 11-10. Forge Well second in at 3-1. Anyone want to start us off for 10 on this?
Yeah, I'll start, Lee, if that's all right. We Syndicate I'm a member of. We run a Blazing Soldier in this for Mark.
Yeah.
It's his first run coming up from Harley Dunn. First run under rules. We had him with Justin Landley doing a bit of pre-training there. Got over to Mark's a few weeks ago. He's bred to be a chaser, so he's bred for a bit further. But he's half brother of Vanda. Doesn't look that deep, but I mean, Russell's obviously coming off the flat. I wouldn't know a great deal. But yeah, we run him. I mean, he's a big old price, but from a loyalty point of view anyway and all that.
Yeah, I think you're having to run to about 110 to sort of win this, I reckon. I think if you can run to 110, anything's got a good. Maybe not even that, to be honest. I don't know. That's what I'm sort of assessing it. 105, 110, something like that. I mean, Two Old Pals for me, I think that was a decent run behind, I think, a very good yard-sticking Classic Lord. Obviously, that horse came out and it beat Intimate by 14 lengths at Fontwell the time before. It's got a mark of 119-ish. That's pretty strong form, you'd say. Yeah, that's where I'm going. Andy, any of you?
I quite like Forge well as a horse. Thought he was a little bit overpriced in relation to Old Pals. I should be keeping a close eye not only on Chris's horse, but also on Confusion, who I definitely think is one for handicaps in the future. Just depends how close they want to get it here or what it's going to do. There's a couple of interesting runs so far. 543 days ago, the last one, but I definitely think that's an interesting one for the future. But I will not be parting with any cash on the race.
John, anything to add?
2 Old Pals.
Yeah. That's about it. So that's why I can't really knock the fav, really. If Classic Lord was in that, it'd be about 2 to 7. 2:15 at Newcastle. We see an exciting 2 to 5 shot of Ben Paulins winning doing handstands. Everyone's hoping. Is that how we see it?
This is what we've come to, haven't we? Novice hurdles on a Saturday,
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible cards, really.
I think, to quote a cliche, there's not an awful lot of strength in depth in it, is there?
I always used to say you needed a Saturday horse, and the term Saturday horse now is like you could be rated 85 handicap hurdle and win. Anyway,
sponsored by climate change and all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the big puddles and everything that's coming down. So there's not really much to add here. John, Andy, anything to sort of add to handstands?
No.
Not really. No, not really. I'd like to see John doing handstands at the BDSM festival.
In yesterday,
cartwheels,
just to bring the tone down a little bit.
It's a gin and pate race, this one. Let the dog in. 250. Empty Nest is where I'm going. I think this horse is a winner in waiting. Interested to hear the true National Hunt judges in Chris and Andy, what their thoughts are.
Yeah, cheers.
You've tipped 3 at fucking Southall. I'm coming to you last. I'm giving you a soapbox at last. Anyway.
Yeah, he would have been my 3-pointer if it hadn't been put up. Really, I thought he got a stone's ride at Catterick. To be honest with you, he come out of nowhere. Actually, on the racing TV camera, you can't quite see it, especially at Catterick. Really, to be honest, and he come with Dobbins, didn't he? And Allward's only just hung on. I mean, he's related to Logical Son, hang in there at 150s. The sticker tongue strap on him. He's very raw, isn't he? He's unfurnished and all the usuals, but this looks weak enough. You'd be a bit disappointed on his third start if he can't progress and go in here, really. So I'll definitely be having a big old punt on him.
Of course, I like to hear that, Chris. Back him with confidence, Andy.
Yeah, I couldn't go against Empty Nest. He was on my long short list. That's probably about sort of 4 or 5 he was bubbling under. The only other one I thought was quite interested in it, partly because I thought he ran better than 5th last time we saw him, was a horse called Attention All, the top horse. Again, he's quite raw. From a stable I really like, Rebecca Menzies Yard. She's a really good trainer. It's just very lightly raced over hurdles, and they haven't really, it was a very quiet run they gave him over fences the first time out. It was out the back. Probably a better race than this, to be honest with you. I think he probably might need even further than he's going to get tomorrow. He's back to 2.5. I think he's quite an interesting horse for the future. Might just need another run. I just think he's a bit raw. He hasn't had an awful, for a 6-year-old. He's only had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's only his 7th run, and he has won a hurdle race. I thought he was the interesting one. If there was an upset, then he would be the one to cause it. But I'd have to, if I was placing my money down, tongue tie on first time, and having seen the run of Empty Nest last time out, I'd have to row him.
Yeah, I think he's definitely interesting. I just thought with the weight, Andy, maybe that might be a bit of a, 12.
I think this is a worse race than he had him last time,
definitely,
though. I think he'll find a race for him. He's going to find a race somewhere like, like a Sedgefield or a Catterick, somewhere like that. He'll pick up a little race.
Definitely. I thought Mickey's Carrigan Castle looked like, he looked like a chaser to me in the paddock at Hexham there, but it just wasn't a great run at Hexham. I couldn't be backing him after the Hexham run, but I could see, and Mickey obviously only gets him right on the track, doesn't he? But I think maybe in a run's time you might maybe look at him, because he does look like a chaser to my eyes anyway, that Carrigan Castle anyway.
Yeah, like you say, you'd have expected just that bit more last time, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, he was beaten by his stable mate, wasn't he? Old Emma wasn't far. That Breezer win was obviously. I mean, funnily enough, I was at Sedgefield that day when Breezer win was withdrawn, and they lined them up for that, and then they lined them up again, didn't they? Next time, I think at Sedgefield, I think he was turned over, wasn't he? And then they lined them up
by
at
Chris
Hexham,
Grant. What a game!
Yeah, good old Chris.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive, eh?
Yeah, with the old black and white. Yeah, but you'd be disappointed if Marks doesn't win that, really,
Yeah, I think so. John?
The only thing that can get it race tactics. If they drop out, they might have a bit of a problem because there's not much pace on. I thought Carrigan Castle and Cold Kill would both offer trading and running opportunities, but I do think Empty Nest looks the most likely winner.
Every chance Cool Kill probably get withdrawn, I reckon, which will be a rule 4 on the old 5-2. But there we go. That's how we have it. Right, we're moving on to Wincanton. 4 races there before we cover the Lawlors at Naas to finish the show on Sunday. Right, 1:30. Fastbook already tipped up. Good logic indeed from Chris Gartner regarding the ground, etc., etc. At 5-2, I personally found this race incredibly difficult, and I would definitely have to side with Chris just purely on the fact Magic's saying I don't think we'll go on the ground, given his wind issues. Prince Quali, that's probably the one maybe to worry about. Mr. Grey Sky ran terrible last time out. Would have to run to the level that he did before, but he would be interested on that. Fakir never wins. Andy, where would you be on this?
Probably go with Fast Buck. I'm not sure I'd be parting with any cash on the race, but Magic Saint is incredibly well handicapped, as you say, with his wind issues. Then I'm not sure I'd want to be backing him on that. Mr. Grey Sky ran a horrible race last time out. Prince Quali, you don't know a lot about. As you say, Fakir never wins. Sort of leads back to Fast Buck, doesn't it? Especially if he gets out in the lead as well. Could jump this lot silly, and that'll be just about the end of the game over.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, Magic Saint went hunter chasing last year, didn't he? And then, he's 0 from 6 at breaks. I think Cobden's wasn't originally jocked up because he was obviously at Sandown, but as I said, Wolford's the most interesting one in the race. I mean, he's won over 80k in France, hasn't he? But you just wonder you wonder whether that's a bit of a long term or Mr. Grey Sky. I actually think. I'm not sure he was going to win his 2 chases there. I think Newfound Fame was coming for him at Huntingdon, and I think definitely at Chepstow, Liberty Hunter was right on him there before he fell. So I think he's slightly flattered by having 2 chase wins there recently. So I think Fast Buck goes off a lot shorter.
I completely agree.
I think he'll trade a lot shorter.
Watch the walk round there for the big back to lays. John, who have you here?
Yeah.
Wolford's us, German Dam, 3.9 on the stick.
You love a German Dam, to be fair. Look, Prince Quali is definitely the one I'd be looking at because obviously the French form isn't bad at all in the context of it. It comes out very, very close to the front end, so it'd be interesting if it was a float up last time. Only thing I'd say though, it wore a tongue tie in France, and I'd just love to have seen tongue tie back on. Then I'd probably be more confident because obviously it must have a few breathing issues, otherwise they'd put it back on, surely.
Harry Kimber's a tongue-tie in human form.
Yeah, he's a good lad and takes a 3 off, and he's probably better than Locum Williams.
Nice light hands.
Off levels, never mind getting the 3. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one to worry about if you're backing Fastbook tomorrow. That's the consensus with the bastards. Right, 205 race. Obviously, I've tipped the gamble of the day. If this doesn't go off 4s, everyone's blind. Anything that you saw here, chaps, like scupper my confidence?
Well, I mean, Mr. Derham has got a chance with 4 of a kind. I don't think he's hoodwinked anyone because he's put the old cheek pieces and the tongue tie back on, and 4 of a kind has its best form with that. But you'd be struggling to back it on his last couple of runs. Darnay Travels just doesn't find anything. If you wanted one to trade in it, sort of a double figure price, it wouldn't be bad. You've outlined the case for Starovich, which is a good one, Lee. I thought the Fee Amak, I think it's called, one last time out at Sedgefield. Surprised I haven't had that out again as quickly. But I must admit, I do like the trainer, Nigel Hawke. Always like his horses when he travels them north. He's got very good records at places like Sedgefield and Hexham and even Perth this year as well. And one last glance looked a little bit interesting. I think it's a bit more depth to the race than possibly it looks on first look. But I shall be cheering and backing your Starovich if I can get on.
Good stuff. That's what we like to hear. Chris Gartner.
Yeah, I really like one last glance in this. I was like a passing glance on heavy ground, Dashel Dasher and all that.
Yeah, great record.
I think Hugh Morgan takes 5. I mean, the only worry is obviously the trainer. I mean, I watched that race at Lingfield last time, and Luke Scott's he's just gone far too quickly. And then, he's been caught by Goldstein there, which is not something you say every day. And he's headed by the finish there. And, obviously he's jocked up. I think Hugh Morgan showed that he's more than capable with that £5 claim there. Bounce factor is obviously maybe a concern at 600 days or whatever, but he's always been back, this horse, which shows you that. So, he'd be. I mean, it's a week enough race. I'm not sure that Nigel Hawke's filly there at Sedgefield. I watched that race and
the second might have tossed it away. I think he was trying to get back to the
saw the
paddock
paddock at Sedgefield and wanted to be in there, didn't he? Really?
I came out that way. I'm going back in that way.
Yeah. See you later. Yeah. Getting down the motorway, but. So the one I go for would be, and it's absolute dog shit, isn't it? But the one last glance, yeah.
Fair enough. Like you're right. I remember the race. Definitely, Luke Scott definitely could have probably won that with a bit more conservatism in the straight. But it was pinched by the eventual winner and Mark Goldstein. But so I see your case there for that. Andy's case for Nigel Oakes. I mean, that was a good horse on the flat, Facamac, or feature match, or I don't know. Fuckamac, whatever. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, Tiz was. He's certainly an interesting E, and I just hope that I'm right on what I think he's at Jamie Snowden, Mr. Shrewd. I love Jamie Snowden. I think he's a good trainer. John, coming on to your thoughts for the race.
I'm going to side in with yours because you've put a lot more work into the race than I have. But I did note that the way this might be run might suit one last glance. But I'll be back in yours.
No, do you know what? I think from the cases made, I think I'm not going to lose on one last glance. I'm going to make sure that that's not a loser in the book. Kind of like that. 240. We move on to the handicap chase there. George's Saint from me and Andy as the first klaxon of the day. So we'll stay quiet. Chris.
Yeah, I can see the point on George's Saint. He's your typical Venetia, isn't he? Get them over, don't do a great deal over hurdles, and then, goes up by 20 pounds or what have you. I mean, it was amazing at Fakenham because he went the rail, didn't he, at Fakenham? And Jesus, Lucy. I mean, it was dirty deep for Fakenham, that, wasn't it? I mean, female jockey's handicap chase. You're not sure on the form of that. I mean, I think the third for the good doctor's gone
Not as deep as it was earlier in the week. What a farce that was, eh?
Oh, the
Jesus.
ambulance. Yeah.
Couldn't spot that one coming.
No.
You call it off, don't you? You know what the rain's going to, call it off way before. I mean, I haven't got a problem with calling it off, but yeah, there you go. What a game. But I mean, look, but he's priced up, isn't he? I mean, he did have a claimer. I mean, he has gone up a lot on the weight, so you are looking for a lot more improvement in it. The only other, the one that caught my eye was Moore's Veteran in here, Iconic Muddle. I mean, he's 11, but he goes very well fresh. And I wonder whether they, I mean, he was beaten a length by Lieutenant Rocco, who wasn't a bad horse in his day. He has won off heavy before.
Trying to say I mark that one, isn't it?
Got a decent claimer on him. I mean, obviously, I just thought he might, I mean, he might be a bit of interest, really.
He's kept some good company as Iconic Muddle, but he's a bit of an equine wanker. I think the record says that. Some people disagree and say you're being harsh there, but there's been numerous times. I do think he started short prices sometimes.
Is there a better trainer of equine wankers than the old jellied ale man?
Yeah. People might say I'm harsh there, but I don't fully trust him. There's something about him it's a bit. Apart from that, yeah, look, he's capable. He's been in some good races and some good company in his career, Chris. So I take that on board. John?
I'd just echo what Chris said, really, about Iconic Muddle. I think Renese's actually possibly just gone up enough. I mean, it's like a net £12 from last time, isn't it? Because there was a kid up. Now he got Baldy back in the plate and £7 right, isn't it?
With his fly undone.
Yeah.
Every time he takes his helmet off, I get a shock.
I know, it's a good one, that is. Stitch it weaves. Like you think, right, well, it's like a pack you get sent through post. You think, right, we'll go and thatch his head.
Well, it's like when Darth Vader takes his hat off, isn't it? I don't know why, I always expected him to have a tan.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, he's had his head covered up for like 30 years. And I got a shock when he was pasty white. When Luke took his helmet off.
It's a good head, is that? Did we send a sermon over at last Friday's show? We said it's Venetia's headboard.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that has an effect as well, doesn't it?
Should be red rash, shouldn't it?
John, carry on, please. Sorry.
No, that's pretty much it from me. If I had a bet, I'd back Iconic Muddle.
Yep, fair enough. Agreeing with the Gartner on the 240 in terms of, and not a bad price at 6 to 113 a 2. That's all right for Iconic Muddle. Certainly capable on his day. 315 is the 2 mile 5.5 furlongs handicap hurdle, and 15 to 8 favourite is in Individual East for Pumpkin Gingle. Obviously, a good combination. Any view here, chaps? I'll kick us off just briefly. If they put a jockey on Astronomic View, it's a win by about 15. It's refusing for Lucy because it's bossing Lucy, basically. It's a Shipperelli. They can be a bit tricky, Shipperellis. And this one, it travels all over the... Like, it refused last time terribly at Bangor. It just could have gone past at any point and just said, nah. I just think if they got a Quinlan or a Bass on this, as John Lang once said, if they got Babe Ruth with a bat on this... it'd win. So yeah, Astronomic View. Certainly, if you like your trading and stuff like that, or maybe a place only bet, that I think that's probably the mustard play.
It went 152. It went last time out.
Yeah,
when
complete.
When it wouldn't go by.
No,
it was Tanganyika, wasn't it? It wouldn't go by.
Yeah, and he's got some good novice hurdle form, some strong novice hurdle form to say he's better than 115 anyway. It's just the pilot on top is literally a minus £17 handicap. Penalty there to the confidence. Chris Gartner, you views on this?
Yeah, I'll be having a bet on Venetia's here, especially now that I've seen that the Charlie's on. I thought he got walked all over, didn't he, at the Utoxa? I mean, poor Ned didn't have a one way to go. I mean, Grizz top was walked to the left, walked to the right, all over him really. And I know they rate Murphy's one there, so I think 110's pretty fair. I think he goes up in trip a little bit, which I think will suit. Obviously handles the deep ground there. So I I mean, it's Nichols and it's Wincanton, isn't it? You try and be smart and you go the poorhouse, don't you, when you take on Nichols at Wincanton? But I do like Venetia's in this one.
Yeah, I certainly think Intimate has got more to show. Definitely not got to the bottom of it, Utoxeter, as Chris says. Andy, your view?
It's quite an interesting. I mean, Individualist one pulling a bus and probably two buses at that earlier in the week. Just depends, backing up quickly. Don't know. I'm never quite sure. And wasn't particularly deep at Taunton, but this is different ground. Astronomic View. I agree with you. I just think if you put a jockey on it, they've had quite well. Actually, the whole stable have had quite a few like that, haven't they?
Yeah.
So, if you'd have put a jockey on, you'd have probably doubled your number of winners. Intimate, as Chris said, got absolutely mullered at Utoxeter. Old Rare Clouds down the bottom didn't run too badly last time out. 3rd and 9 at Chepstow behind What You Wearing. It wasn't a bad run. I wouldn't write him off on this sort of sloppy old ground, but it wasn't a race I wanted to get hugely involved with either. It was like the 99% of the races on Saturday, but apart from a few, I think I had to have. If somebody said to me, "You've got to have a bet," I'd back the Venetia thing Intimate with Charlie back on board because I think he just got mullered last time out, and the conditions are going to suit. And a tiny bet on Rare Clouds just because I think he was a little bit overpriced. I think he's probably about the right price now, but I think he could just outrun his price.
Good stuff. John?
Hat trick of opinions on the Venetia one. I thought, don't rightly know an individualist could get at it a long way out here and not say it out. Baldy just sat nicely off him and then picking up the bits.
Poor old Baldy.
Venetia getting ever more excited as they turn into the straight. The voice going up several octaves as they come down to the last.
Yeah, moist, I think John should be getting.
I'm not kidding you. Tomorrow, when she gets excited, she'll sound like a Kosovan rape alarm going off.
We go on to the Lawlors on Sunday, sponsored by the Kosovan Rape Alarms, Grade 1. Yes, the Lawlors. What a tremendous race this is. 2.5 mile contest, and it's one of the best. It's one of the best novices we've seen so far this season in terms of depth and quality. So I would like each of you to give your idea of the potential winner, chaps. Anyone want to start us off?
I really like the Firefox, the favourite here. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a massive expert on Irish racing. Look, he's got to step up, but I mean, Ballyburn's clearly a smart one, isn't he? I just think he looks a pretty straight, honest walk in the park, really. It's pretty good to see for the Morans because they've had a bit of bad luck, haven't they, with some of the ones that they bought over the time. I mean, I noticed the Dames buy the same where they bought the Bosses Oscar there as well. Just I think Mullins' one will be a better chaser. To be fair, I think he's had a few quirky coastal paths, hasn't he? Aston Furlong and Bacardis and what have you. But yeah, I go with Elliott's and that.
Right. So coming to what I think, Firefox and Atlantique met in a bumper, didn't they? So the Mullins horse travelled all over Firefox, really, but Firefox just got down to the nitty gritty at the end. And I agree with what you said there, Chris, actually, about the coastal paths, etc. They're all right when they can bully, but when they have to sit down and Stellar Story beat it when it were 2-5 at Naas. Yeah. Firefox beat it at Fairyhouse. And I just think they just like that.
It's an equine Graham Hick.
Yeah, 225 on a flat track at New Road. But then, when it's got the old green pitch.
Not at the moment you wouldn't.
No.
It's underwater.
Yeah. So on the green pitch of Headingley, it's 3. That's where I'm sort of with Chris on that. The Atlantique, a lot of big engine, but I'm just not so sure. So I agree with Chris on Firefox. Obviously, going through some of us, Antabar will improve for the trip. Croke Park's a lovely type. Well, it's a terrible cliche, but when he goes chasing, he's going to be, I think, very, very useful. Mythical Power, I don't think will like conditions, stepping up in trip. So I'm saying if you want one at a price, maybe Chance Antabar and Croke Park. They're nice enough types. Croke Park's done nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with the Monksfield form.
He wants 3 though, Lee, doesn't he? I mean,
He does.
he
He does.
there's,
Yeah.
Is he not? Is he not an
Yeah.
Albert Bartlett
Yeah.
horse?
Yeah. He's likely to get.
He's the one outside of the front two, and to throw my hat in the ring, I like Firefox better than Lil Antique because I'll always take a battler over a cruiser.
Yes.
And Croke Park just struck me the times I've seen him. I mean, again, cliche time. Maybe looks a chaser in the making, but I just thought he looked Albert Bartlett written all over him. But if there was an upset, then he'd be the one to cause it.
Yeah, he'd love a really good pace and a good gallop, and them taking each other on from too far out. If you get that kind of setup, then Croke Park can take advantage for sure.
You could have that in this race. I mean, you could. It could be set up for that, couldn't it? I mean, but Jack's a clever jockey, isn't he? He can read that as well. So,
like Firefox can just sit in behind and whatever, really. But John, what were your thoughts here?
I like Firefox very much. I think he'll improve for the trip. I like the way he battles. I think Croke Park sets the standard, but I can say Firefox improving past that standard.
Yes, I think we're all in sort of agreement there. It's like quite solid, and I think 9-4 chaps for Firefox is quite generous.
Reasonable.
You've had that before, though, haven't you? You try and be complicating this race, and you got Ginto winning at 5-4, haven't you? You got Bob Ollinger winning at 6-4. Obviously, Envoy Allen was evens, wasn't he? And then you got Battle Over Doyen in short. I just think sometimes it just goes to the best horse in this, and I think Firefox is probably at this trip, these conditions, the best horse.
Yeah, I'd have him sort of 13-8, 7-4-ish. I think 9-4 is very good if you can get that. He did set off at 7-4, drifted out 9-4. That's really attractive now. Confident there. Confidence from the panel. And I hope you've enjoyed this show as much as we have. Been fun to do. Thanks to John, Andy and Chris. And hopefully we can line your pockets full of silver and gold. Myself, John and Chris, the other Chris, Lorne Malvo is back on Sunday to chew the fat with the sermon. Plenty going on in racing at the moment, and we'll be moaning like hell on Sunday as usual and cheering you up in a grim month after Christmas. That's all from us. Bye for now.